The verbal opera situation, because this one deserves its own paragraphs. 4 rounds of interviews, final panel, references checked, hiring manager called me directly unprompted and said the words, "We want to offer you the role. You will have it in writing by the end of the week." I mentally began winding down other applications and the week arrived nothing. I followed up professionally. Recruiter said, "Let me check on the status." 3 days of silence, then a formal email saying the position had been canceled due to an internal reorganization. No phone call, no apology, no acknowledgement that a human being had restructured their job search around a verbal commitment that turned out to be worthless. This video is being sponsored by Textual Consulting. Are you still struggling to get into cybersecurity? Are you not getting interviews? Do you have a bad resume? Or is it all the above? Well, if that's you, then we got you covered at Textual Consulting. My name is Henry Davis. I'm a career coach and a cybersecurity professional, and I've helped hundreds, maybe even thousands of people get into cybersecurity with my coaching and my content that you've seen in various places. Now, I specialize in specifically getting people in the blue team. That would be incident response or SOC analyst. I can cover everything from your entry level to your medium to your advanced skills and really help you outperform your resume. You don't believe me? Check out some of these testimonials that I've had from recent clients. So if you're interested, click the link in my bio to see what offerings that we have available for you. Now, back to the show. I got a good one. Okay, so let's start with this one first. This is titled, guys, 20 plus final rounds, 0 written offers, 1 verbal offer that got canceled, then reposted 3 weeks later. I need someone to tell me what is actually happening because I clearly cannot see it myself. Throw away, because some of these recruiters know me by name at this point. I need brutal, honest, no sugarcoating advice from people who have been on the hiring side. I'm stuck in the pattern. I cannot diagnose, and it's starting to genuinely affect my confidence and my ability to stay motivated in this search. The situation in plain terms. Over the last year, I have made it to the final round at more than 20 companies. IT, program management, business analysis, and operations leadership roles. Remote and hybrid mostly. I'm talking final panel interviews, VP culture fit calls, hiring manager debriefs, references checked, and in multiple cases, verbal confirmation that I was the person they wanted. But 0 written offers. 1 verbal offer that the hiring manager personally called me about and said, "You will have it in writing by end of week." And a week came silence. I followed up 3 days of nothing. Then an email saying the role was canceled due to internal reorganization. That exact same role, same title, same description was reposted 21 days later. I never received an apology or an explanation. The excuses I have actually been given across 20 plus companies, real language paraphrased. We moved on to another candidate, role reposted within 30 days. The role has been put on hold due to budget constraints, role reposted 2 weeks later. We decided to go with an internal candidate. LinkedIn showed an external hire the following month. We are restructuring the team. The team grew by multiple headcount within 30 days. We need someone with slightly more domain-specific experience. The person they hired had fewer years in the field based on public LinkedIn data. The hiring manager has decided to take the role in a different direction. Role description was word for word identical when reposted. We had an exceptionally strong candidate pool, and it was an extremely difficult decision. Copy, paste, none, answer with 0 substance. The business has decided to pause all external hiring temporarily. 3 other roles at the same time, company reposted the same week I received an email. We felt your background was a strong fit, but ultimately went with someone whose experience more closely aligned with the current needs. I had more directly relevant experience than the job description required. After careful consideration, we had decided to move forward with other candidates at this time. No specifics, no feedback, no explanation, no humanity. Every single one of these turned out to be a polished half-truth or an outright fabrication based on what I could verify afterwards through LinkedIn job boards and public hiring data. What I know for certain. The problem is not my resume. I get consistent recruiter outreach and pass screening regularly. The problem is not early stage interviews. I advance through phone screens, technical rounds, and first panels consistently. The problem is not communication. I'm experienced, articulate, and comfortable in high-stakes conversations. I've been told multiple times by recruiters, mid-process things like the hiring manager loves you and you are exactly what we are looking for. The verbal opera situation, because this one deserves its own paragraphs. 4 rounds of interviews, final panel, references checked, hiring manager called me directly unprompted and said the words, "We want to offer you the role. You will have it in writing by the end of the week." I mentally began winding down other applications and the week arrived nothing. I followed up professionally. Recruiter said, "Let me check on the status." 3 days of silence, then a formal email saying the position had been canceled due to an internal reorganization. No phone call, no apology, no acknowledgement that a human being had restructured their job search around a verbal commitment that turned out to be worthless. That same role was reposted 21 days later with the identical job description.
Please buy.
I have never received a real explanation for any of this, not once across 20 plus companies. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm looking for the kind of feedback most people are too polite to give. If there's something I'm doing or signaling that is killing my chances in the final stretch, I would rather hear the painful truth on Reddit than burn another year getting this close and walking away empty-handed every time. I definitely feel them on some of these things.
Okay, hear me out. Now, that things do happen, or companies are reorged 1,000. I mean, and they could get back in a position to be able to hire for that same role in 21 days. So I don't think that that's not untrue. I just think from the outside looking in, it's obviously a completely different experience. I can sympathize with the fact that you and we would like to be like notified, like, hey, we would like a more personable message response, but that's a lot to do and ask of a lot of different candidates. Like, some of these positions have thousands of applicants. They can't send 1,000 people.
When you make it to...
And granted, that's a different stage, because he actually made it first round, second round, third round. Like, he made it further past. So his, he could want some, what's not experience? He could want some... More
communication.
Yeah, like on what didn't or did go well there. I 1,000,000% understand his side, and I also understand like what actually truly happens in these organizations for candidates to feel the way that they feel. Like, I get, and I'm happy that I have both of those perspectives, because if you only have the perspective of the candidate, you always gonna feel shortchanged and like, maybe your needs aren't being met. But when you really understand how these companies are trying to function and maintain things and grow and do bigger and do better, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been there. I've had it to where I went down to Afrotech thing. I had a whole offer. Technically, it was verbal, just for it to get pulled because they was unsure about the company the next year. But they was true to their word. They said, when we reopen it, we're going to reach out. And they did. Mm-hmm. But by that time, I already took something else. I wasn't on the market anymore. I got a client right now. I talked about it some episodes back, but she's been interviewing with a company to where so much so it's pretty much candidate 1A and 1B. So they hired 1A for the first role, and they were saying where they don't have the experience, you do have the experience, so we want to create another rec for you. And I was talking with her the other day because she was saying, I saw that the rec was back out, and she was like, should I apply this again, or what should I do with the recruiter? Because she had everything in writing where they told her pretty much like, hey, we're going to get this rec opened up. Honestly, the only person you need to interview with is the CEO, because like you're killing it. And so now they was telling her that like the recruiter told her pretty much, hey, like it's your role to lose. The only reason you're gonna have to do like another interview is because you're gonna interview like with a person that wasn't a part of the last process. But there's like, other than that, the current people that's like in the process right now, they aren't as good as you. And some of them like a very high level, and they've been using like AI in their answers. So at this point, it's like still yours. So I was like, that's respectful for the recruiter actually being honest, because the recruiter is actually when I push for like, why are we making them do any more interviews again? Just let them talk to the CEO so we can hire her. And
shout out to the recruiters.
Yeah, so I like when people have recruiters like that fight for the talent that I already know. But no, I've seen it plenty of times. The roles canceled, rebus, they keep on reposting the same role. I was just telling you about a situation earlier about interviewing for someone a month ago, now in the same process again. I was like, because it's just stupid. Like, there is no way sometimes to, I don't know.
Sometimes they be like, from the inside, they are told, dead it, shut it down, we're done.
Yeah.
And that is the direction, and they have to move on to something else. And I think that people that work in recruiting are not as heartless as people think that they are. These people want you to get the jobs. They want to give you the offers. They want to share the information with you. But it's not like they're a free agent and they can just do what they want. They still have to follow the direction and the guidance that they are receiving from the company, and how the company is structured, and What does success look like for the company? Success might look like we're not hiring from this role no more right now for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You know what I mean? So I just always want folks to also think about the other person on the inside and not just themselves in those situations.
Yeah, for sure. I know, like, so they got different things on here. They're saying, like, could be some coming back on your references or all this other stuff, which that's normally when you actually do the actual
Interview.
background checks.
Yeah. That's when they find out if you said you worked there, did you actually work there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a lot of different opinions on here. It's really hard to know what their issue is without actually listening to any of their interviews and
Yeah.
seeing what they're saying. But it does suck, especially. I should have told you bring them things.
I should have. I'm gonna say you some.
But it does suck that you need a lozenge.
Oh my goodness. You need some water.
I'm good.
My go?
Let me see. I got one more. This is a long answer, but let's see what they say.
This is a response, like a comment.
What's likely happening is not. What's likely happening is not one single catastrophic flaw. It is probably one or two subtle issues that only become visible at the very end of the process when companies compare strong candidates against each other. And yes, the companies are absolutely giving you polished half-truth. Most rejection reasons are risk-managed corporate language, not honest feedback. They avoid specifics because legal exposure, recruiter policy, avoiding confrontation, preserving employer brand, keeping you warm as a backup candidate. So you should stop analyzing the little wording of rejections. The wording is mostly noise. At final stage, companies are rarely asking, can this person do the job? But there's a version of this that quietly triggers concern. You can accidentally come across as too polished, too rehearsed, too forceful, overly analytical, difficult to influence, politically heavy, exhaustion to manage, and this person might challenge everything. No recruiter will ever tell you this directly, but hiring managers absolutely discuss it privately. Other possibilities, you may be over-answering, something may be surfacing in references, you may be triggering overqualified flight risk, your interview style may lack emotional warmth. The fact pattern matters. If this happened 2 times badly or 5 times concerning, 20 plus times, there's almost certainly a repeatable signal you are unknowingly giving. The probability of pure coincidence becomes extremely low.
I don't know. I'm sad for the folks.
Right.
But I also I don't know. It's a double-edged sword. The more you know, the more you understand. But it doesn't give excuses to I don't want to say that and like give excuses to people who have truly had a poor experience with a recruiter. I'm not talking about that type of situation at all. I'm like recruiters that just literally ghost you and ghost you because they're not doing good at their job. They're not following the stages and steps that they're supposed to follow. Like, obviously, as you should know, when you're going through an employment process, there are stages and steps, and they have to respond to you timely to give you the offer, and you have certain amount of days to respond back and stuff like that. Like, I'm not talking about the people who are fumbling the ball there. I'm not talking about them.
Yeah. I had another one, but I think it's super long, so I will not get into that one. It may be something that I'll do another time, but it's pretty much it was like a post on how to actually position yourself to land a cyber role in 2026, not clickbait. Mm-hmm. But it was a pretty long post, and so that's something that's worth like a really good long deep dive. But since I'm still here on this topic of the job search, and we talked about this with the interviews, right? First thing you need to do is if you are coming up on a screening, if you had the time, I have a little doc that I use, and have I ever showed you the doc?
I think you did. I have one that I would typically keep to that gives you like, like who is the company, what's their mission,
Yeah,
what's their
so
values.
it's like about because like you, it's a simple thing you can impress them
you
by
need
like,
to know.
oh, I think you guys like, especially if it's not a virtual call and you on the phone, shoot, whip out your notes.
Whip them out on that virtual call too. Just be player about it.
So get the about me, use the job description, use AI to kind of help you out with the job description, just figuring out like potential questions they could possibly ask you, but also find any company news, right? You want to seem informed, like you are actually interested, similar to like you on a date. Oh yeah, I was seeing on your Instagram.
I'm screaming.
You love to get matcha. Is it maca or matcha?
Matcha.
I see that you like matcha, whatever. But the fact that you probably seen a couple of pictures down that they like matcha or whatever, it's like, okay,
Easy
they've been kind of like
conversation.
going through my stuff and they kind of been paying attention. So pay attention to that. Rehearse your elevator pitch.
1,000,000%. Rehearse it with your friends, your fam. Like you have to rehearse it with people that you talk to often, so that
No.
so that you're not tripped up.
Not people.
I think like my best friends know what my elevator pitch sound like.
Not even you. They need somebody that's not worried about being a friend. That's gonna be mean to them.
To give them, I guess, like constructive feedback on it. Well, I'm just saying, like, you should be able to have that conversation with the people that make you feel more comfortable.
I agree, but to prepare you to talk to somebody you don't know,
You
it
should
just
talk
be a
to
person
people,
you don't know. So a lot of times, because like I said, plenty of times I've gotten people, we practice
Maybe
their
we should
elevator
do
pitch.
that. Maybe that should be, a little touch we add to our event. This is 15-minute elevator pitch
That
hour.
or we do one
Yeah.
on one
This
of the
is-
live streams where we're like, hey, if you're struggling with screenings
with your
and
elevator
get past
pitch,
screenings,
come on here. And,
this is your live stream to join.
I love that. Let's add that. Let's add that in
That'd
there.
definitely be something. Marquise should probably definitely be interested in that.
Definitely.
But work on that because it's not your time to talk about. I'm from Wilmington,
I'm born and raised. I'm born and raised in
Michigan.
Yeah, it's
and all the other stuff. It's really
but
about the
but
job.
to be fair, they do ask you, tell me about yourself, and the first thing you think is to yourself is, oh my gosh, I was born. You think that's not what they mean.
Yeah. No,
That's not what they mean.
Keep it short. Focus on, like I like to do a greeting before I just start yapping about myself.
I actually like to do a joke. I'd be like, I'm born and raised, and then I'll start laughing to make it a little joke. And then I would be like, no, I know that's not what you want to hear.
Or you can tell a dad joke. But I'll try that because at least you'll be remembered.
Yeah, exactly.
But mostly I like to say hey, thank you for taking the time out your busy schedule to meet with me. Even if I don't care, it's just what's the thing called?
Pleasantry.
There we go. But it's another word too I'm thinking about. You can do that and then from there, you can just overlevel like how much experience you got, what you've been doing currently, your current day-to-day tech stack that you use while you apply to the job. Boom. And then another way, while we talk about that, they never say, oh, what got you in the market? You can go and dice that a couple of ways. You can say...
You can definitely dice pineapples that.
You can say, I wasn't particularly looking, but when I came across this job description, it caught my interest. It aligns with the stuff I want to do in the future, and as well as it connects with like a purpose of mine. So like a lot of times, when it comes to recruiting to me for healthcare jobs, I always mention the Regent Stryker, Change Healthcare.
Wow, that Stryker situation was insane.
Like any recent thing I mention and talk about how I want to help protect not only the company, but the people who depend on this stuff for their well-being. And recruiters normally report that back to that and it will line up like a lot of goals, a mission statement. So that's the same way. So that's why it's beneficial for you to research the company and figure out what they do for that very reason. And then going from there, while you're researching what they do, you can also, what's the next part I want to say? Because my daughter threw me off over there laughing. The purpose of the screening is to try to prepare you for the next interview. So have some good questions down, simple questions. Hey, why is this role open? Why is it important? What's the hiring process like? How fast they looking to start somebody? What is the hiring manager specifically looking for to hire in this role? What has been the problem with the people you tried to hire in the past? Ask all these questions because then you can go work on everything that they said they have issues with so you can shine. So those are a little bit of nuggets, if you made it this far, that you can take with you into your next screening interview. And if you are still rocking with us right now, make sure you hit the like button.